Hey guys, so check it out. I just received this package in the mail. It's been sent by a company called HEQ UAV or HEQ UAV. Not really sure how it's pronounced. But yeah, what's in this box is a VTOL fixed-wing aircraft called a Swan K1. Now, for those of you who don't know what VTOL means, this basically means vertical takeoff and landing. So this is a fixed-wing aircraft that will take off and land vertically like a multirotor, which is pretty cool. Now, the company got hold of me a couple of weeks ago and asked if I'd be interested in reviewing this, and I was kind of interested, so I said yeah, and this is what they sent. Now, they weren't very forthcoming in exactly what they were going to send. Obviously, I know they're going to send me the aircraft, but I don't know if they're sending anything else with it, like receiver or batteries or anything. So I'm going to do an unboxing, and we'll have a look at it together, and we'll see what's inside, and then we'll take the aircraft out for a fly and see whether it's any good. So let's get on with it. Okay, I'm going to have to try and do this with one hand, because obviously I'm trying to film, but try the best we can to do this. Let's crack open the seal. See what we've got. Ooh. This looks good. Okay, so it comes in like a hard case looking thing. Wasn't expecting that. Let's see if we can get it out of the box. This thing is like a suitcase. It's quite big, and it's heavy as well. It must be a good 4 or 5 kilos behind that. But yeah, this is a nice case. Proper hard case. Got a zipper on the side, branded with HEQ on the front. Is there anything on the back? No, nothing on the back. But no, that's a good quality case, which is a good start. Oh, see, we want to see what's inside there, don't we? So let's get it open. Carefully flip it open. Oh wow. Okay, this looks cool. There's the aircraft, well, at least the fuselage. Look at that, it comes with a radio. I wasn't expecting it to be coming with a radio. And it looks like this side here also opens up as well. What's behind here? Okay, so there's the landing legs with the motors on. And there's some props as well, and power cables and whatnot. This is really nicely presented, actually. I'm impressed with this. Proper, like moulded insert and whatnot. Let's have a look at the fuselage. Okay, so this is made of high density silver EPP, which is the good stuff. It's what they make mini tracks out of, and I think the new Reptar S800 and things. That's good. Feels very, very tough. Very tough, actually. It's really, really rigid. I can't even push my finger into that and leave a mark. Yeah, that's really good and really dense. In the front there, so there's a camera just in there, and I think this is where you're supposed to put a GoPro or a DJI Osmo. Interesting, actually, this little nose block here. It's got the little weights on it. So if you didn't want to have a GoPro on the front, or if you don't own one, just put that block in, and this will have the weight you need to hit CG, I guess, which is pretty smart. Not really sure what this little bit sticking out the top is. It's got a little hole in it. At first I thought it might have been for an antenna, but now I'm wondering if it's an airspeed sensor. I'm not really sure. There's 2 hatches on the top. This one's bolted down. Let's see what's in this rear one. It's tight. Okay, so that's where the battery connects. So you've got a bit of Velcro in there already. And on the underside, it's got a couple more hatches here as well. One there and one there. And these are also bolted into place. So, not really sure what's in there. And a little air vent, probably for cooling of ESC or something. And on the side here, this is where the wings will connect. So a little electrical connector there for the motors, ESCs I guess. And then there's your spar. That's actually a metal spar. Okay, that's really cool. Yeah, that's a proper metal spar. I guess that's aluminium or something. Never seen a fully metal spar in an aircraft before. I like that. Yeah, there's little holes here for, I'm guessing, for connectors on the wings. That looks very good. That looks very smart. Let's look at the radio first, shall we? Okay, so this is kind of basic looking. It's quite lightweight. Not really sure I like these little rubber sleeves around the gimbals, but whatever. 3 buttons on the front. Got a little toggle switch on the side and a little scroll wheel. And, same thing on the other side. Folding antennas, 2 of them. And, we've also got a USB port, or it's just 2 USB ports, which I'm guessing is for connecting to a phone or something. And I'm guessing this little bit here is for connecting a little tablet holder or something. I wonder if that's what's in this package here actually. Yeah, it looks like a little phone holder, which is yeah, spring loaded, so it can be extendable, so that will clip on something like that, I guess. Oh nice, it even comes with batteries pre-installed. Alright, cool. What else is in the box? Okay, so these are the wings, or wing tips. No electronics in these. There's no control surfaces on this aircraft. It's all done through the motors. So there's literally just a little plastic socket thing there and a spar. Spar is carbon fibre, as far as I can tell. That's not fiberglass, it's not metal, it's carbon fibre. And I guess these little prongs here are what connects to these little holes here, maybe? I don't know, we'll find that out in a bit. But yeah, 1 of them, 2 of them. Cool. And last thing in the front is a battery, which is, okay, wow, that's a pretty heavy battery. That's a pretty big battery. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's an 8-cell battery. I think that's 18 650 cells we got in there. What does it say on there? 6,000 milliamp. So I'm going to guess that that's a 4S2P pack, lithium ion, which will mean you're probably going to get a pretty good long flight time out of this thing. Yeah, that's good. Okay, let's take a look at the landing legs. Not much to say about these. They are landing legs. They have 2 motors on each one. Interestingly, the motors are on both ends, are slightly angled inwards, and also slightly to the side there as well. There's the little electrical connector, which will plug into there. That's cool. So there's no wires flapping around or servo connectors to do. Guessing that hole there is where the metal spar goes through. It's good quality plastic actually. This is it's not that cheap, horrible, nasty stuff. It's just like quite tough, quite strong plastic. Doesn't feel like there's any bend to it or anything. The legs themselves are also very stiff. They've got little rubber landing pads on the end there as well. So these aren't completely symmetrical. There is a curve to the center section there, which I guess matches up to the chord of the wing. So that's going to mean that one of these is definitely designed for the left hand side and one will be definitely designed for the right hand side. There's nothing written on the motors, so I don't know what size or kV they are. Kind of look like the motors used to get on the old school DJI Phantom 1 actually. But yeah, they seem decent enough. Let's have a look at the props. Okay, so they've got a nut built into them. So I guess these are self-tightening props. These are 9x6. Okay, so that's a pretty good prop, and look at the pitch on that. That is a pretty extreme pitch. This thing's going to produce quite a lot of thrust, which is going to need to, because this aircraft's pretty heavy. And yeah, just like with an old school DJI Phantom, you've got silver nuts for probably clockwise and black for anti-clockwise, or vice versa. I don't know. Over here is the charge cable. Comes with a charging brick. There's no balance connector on it anywhere that I can see. So I'm guessing the battery's got its own BMS built into it. And it will kind of self-regulate its own charging. I don't know. And then the last things we've got down here. So there's a bag with a USB cable in it. I'm going to guess that's what plugs into the controller, and then the other one will connect to your phone. Branded SkyDroid. Okay, we'll look them up in a bit. And then the absolute last thing in the box is a lanyard for the radio, and that's also branded SkyDroid. Okay, cool. So that's everything that's in the box. I guess the thing to do now is going to be to try and put it all together. It's going to be fun trying to make any sense out of these instructions because they're all written in Chinese. To be fair, I can kind of tell from the pictures what I need to do. It's not exactly complicated. The only bit I'm a bit confused about is sort of setting up this app and whatnot, because These pictures don't really tell me anything, and obviously I can't read what any of that says. Ah, screw it. Who uses the instructions anyway? Right, so I'm going to guess that that bit there literally slides onto the spar and slots into place. Cool, yep, that clicked into place. And then I'm going to want that wing piece there, and that spar is probably going to go into that hole, I guess. And then push it down, and then it clips into place. Alright, cool. So that's one done. Let's do the same thing to the other side. Okay, that literally took less than a minute to put together. Don't need any tools or anything to connect those wing pieces on, which I really like, actually. It's nice to be able to just clip it together. And the connections are really tight. I don't think they're going to be falling off mid-flight or anything. So, yeah, I'm quite impressed with that. That's a nice way to go about doing it. Before I go powering this thing up, I just want to see what's underneath this hatch here, and also what's underneath those hatches on the bottom. Okay, so looks like that's the main flight controller that's in there, and by the looks of it, this is a 4-in-1 ESC. Those wires there are going to the XT60 connector in the battery compartment there. Quite nice that this flight controller, I can't tell what it is. There's no identifying marks on it anywhere for me to look it up. It does say that that's a F765 chip though, which is pretty good. So it's an F7. Comes a little SD card in there, which I'm guessing is for flight logging, or maybe for recording footage. Not really sure. Look that up. There's a little USB connector down there, which I think is USB-C as well. So that's cool. But yeah, we'll get this connected to a computer in a bit, and we'll see if we can find out what's on it and what it is and whatnot. Little barometer on there with a little bit of foam over it, which is cool. And just in here, I don't even see it, there's a little hose. And if I try and aim the camera down there, that little white block from my thumb, that is a airspeed sensor. And the other end of the hose does go up into this bit here. So that's an airspeed sensor there. There's then two antennas here, one which is going through and faces downwards, and then another one which goes here and faces that way, and the wires from the antennas are both disappearing down into this compartment here. So I'm guessing that hatch that's on the bottom of the aircraft, which will open in a minute, is probably where the receiver is. It's also interesting to note these little white blocks here. These are I think they're just lead weights, which is probably put in there to help the aircraft hit the CG. And then this wire here is going up into the hatch. That is a GPS unit. Okay, so as far as I can tell, that is some kind of receiver unit. There's no real identifying marks on this piece either, so I can't really look up anything about it. But some wires coming out the side there, a couple coming out the side there. But the giveaway that it's receivers because the fact it's got two antennas coming out there. Wasn't able to get this compartment off. I did manage to undo the four little screws there, but then I couldn't prise it out. I think it's been glued in place. But I'm going to guess that that's how you get access to the camera, because the camera is literally right there. From what I read online, the little camera that you see there is supposed to be a 720p HD camera, which is kind of cool. It's a bit weird that the camera's facing up there and there's no other camera facing in any other direction. Like obviously when this thing takes off and it's hovering, the camera is going to be looking at the sky, so you won't be able to see, well, anything other than the sky. Obviously when it flips into fixed wing mode and it's flying, then that camera makes sense. But I would have thought there would have been a second camera on here somewhere, maybe here or something, that was facing this way, so that when you're in sort of the quadcopter flying mode, you'd be able to see where you're going. But yeah, apparently not. Okay, I've connected the little holder to the radio there. The thing I've got to do now is download an app so I can then connect my phone to the radio, which in turn will then connect to the aircraft. Okay, so scanning that little QR code there on my tablet has taken me to this website here. Press installation and see what happens. Okay, so I've got the app installed. Obviously there's no connection to the aircraft yet because I haven't powered it on, so that'll be the thing to do now. Plug a battery into it, get it powered up, and see if we can get it to connect to this and get it working. Okay, so I've now got the tablet mounted on the radio. It looks a bit ridiculous because obviously this tablet's way too big really. I will use my phone when I actually fly this, but obviously at the moment I'm using my phone to record this, so just using the tablet to demonstrate it. But yeah, the cable in the tablet is then plugged into the back of the radio there, and then when you connect it, the app automatically detects the cable's connected and asks you if you're okay with that. And then I also had to then press this little Bluetooth icon here and select the aircraft Bluetooth, or the radio Bluetooth, sorry, which then allowed me to connect it. And yeah, long story short, the app's now connected. There's sort of telemetry data coming in, and down here is a little preview window, which is showing the camera in real time. And if I wiggle my fingers over the top of the camera, you can see them kind of wiggling, a little thumbnail there. So yeah, anyway, I need to spend a bit of time learning how to use all of this, and I need to charge the various batteries as well because they're all pretty low. Yeah, once I've done all that, and I've hopefully managed to translate some of these instructions to figure out what the various little buttons down here do. And then when the weather improves, we'll take it out for a little fly and we'll see what it's like. So yeah. Okay, so it's a couple of days later and I'm now out in a nice big open field and ready to give this thing a bit of a test flight. Now I should actually say that I did actually already take this out for a test flight a couple of days ago. It was only a very quick flight, but everything worked as it should, so that's good. But I didn't record any footage that day, and also it was pretty bad weather, so I'm doing it again today, and I'll try and sort of show you everything I do and sort of get some good footage of how it flies. So yeah, so I've got my phone connected up to the radio with the cable plugged in the back and Bluetooth connected. You probably won't really be able to see the screen all that well on here, but I've got a screen recorder going, so you'll be able to have a look at that. Now, I did manage to get hold of an English manual for this. I had to email HEQ UAV to ask for that, but they sent me a manual which showed me how to use this. Most importantly, it showed me what the various buttons do. So the A button, when you're in flight, if you press that, it will switch the aircraft from sort of quadcopter VTOL mode into fixed wing mode, and if you press it again, it will put it back into VTOL mode. So that's basically your mode switch. And then the B button, that's your return to home mode. Press that and the aircraft will come back. Now I've tested it in multi-rotor mode or quadcopter mode, but I haven't tested it whilst it's in fixed wing mode, so I might try it today because I'm not sure if it's in fixed wing mode and I press that button. I don't know whether it'll immediately go into quadcopter mode and fly back, or whether it will fly back and then go into quadcopter mode when it's directly overhead. I'm not really sure, but we'll find out. And then this little switch here, that's basically the flight mode switch. I think the only options are, you can see it on the screen there, up here, the message there. It's got position hold and out hold. That's the only modes that are on there. That's all you get. The other switch down here and the little jog wheels here, these don't actually do anything, although I'm sure you could program to do something if you wanted to. Now at the moment the GPS is locked into my location, but it's worth mentioning it did take quite a long time to get a GPS lock. I was getting a bit worried actually, because for a really long time I sort of had like 9, 10, maybe even 11 sats, but it was still showing my location as being somewhere in China. But that's while I was testing it at home. But once I brought it out here into a nice big open field, it's working fine. And I think it's something to do with this. You've got a level divisor and a vertical divisor. I think those numbers are too high. I'm guessing they're like H-stop or something, but those numbers are too high, so you couldn't get a lock. But it's now working. We've got a lock, so that's good. Just to point out as well, at the moment you can see a map, and in the bottom left there's a little thumbnail of the FPV feed. If you press that little FPV feed, that then becomes full screen and the map becomes small, so you can choose which of the two you want. Now on the left here there's a button to take a picture. Now this doesn't really take a picture, all it does is it takes a screenshot of what the what's on the screen at the moment. Although this has got a 720p HD camera on board, there's no way to actually record the footage. It doesn't record footage onto the SD card that's in the aircraft or anything. So the only way you can record anything from that camera is to have a screen recorder set up, which is what I've got at the moment. But it is designed to carry a GoPro. So I guess if you want HD footage, just do that. It's like a GoPro on board. Just having a quick look around the interface here. There's not really a lot to see, to be honest. It's quite basic. Down at the bottom of the screen here, there's a little bit of telemetry information. You've got airspeed, ground speed, altitude, distance to home. Not really sure what the next one is. Distance fly. Oh, probably how long you've flown, like total distance flown. And then the last one is your flight time. And then to the right here, there's two little indicators. They just show you what orientation the aircraft's in. So whether it's in sort of multi-rotor mode or whether it's in fixed wing mode. And then at the top here, you just got your flight mode. It then says whether the rotors are locked or not. Basically means whether the aircraft's armed. Little Bluetooth icon that just lets you know that the phone's connected to the Bluetooth in the radio. This little exclamation mark here, that's just where you get warnings. Don't know if there are any at the moment. So yeah, I mean, just gives you, it's like system messages. It lets you know what's going on and if there's anything to be wary of. Then after that, you've got your GPS and then you've got your battery, which I presume is the battery for the aircraft. Yeah, 16.4 volts. And then there is a little settings menu, but there's not much in here. This is basically setting up geofencing. You can sort of program in a maximum height and a maximum distance. Haven't tried any of that. And then basic controls, so you can choose American hand or Japanese hand, which I think basically means changing between mode 1 and mode 2. And then you've got your calibration for your airspeed sensor and also for the compass. The last tab, the general, that all it does is tell you what firmware version the app is. It's not really a lot of use. So yeah, that's the interface. Just a quick little note about the gimbals on here. If you've ever flown a old school DJI Phantom 1, then this will feel very familiar. Because both these sticks are self-centering. Now this is your throttle. So basically, if you push up with that stick, the aircraft will climb. As soon as you let it go, that stick will center and then the aircraft will hold altitude at whatever you got it set to. If you pull it back down again, the aircraft will descend. But as soon as you let go of this stick, the aircraft will hold whatever altitude it's at. It's a bit weird. Obviously, if you're used to flying sort of race quads and whatnot, it feels a bit confusing, but yeah. When you're in fixed wing mode, it gets even a bit more confusing again because this is your throttle. So it basically controls your speed. If you push that all the way forwards, the aircraft will speed up. If you pull it back, the aircraft will slow down. But again, it'll always center, so the aircraft will always go back to its default cruise speed. And then, yeah, this works like normal. So pull up, the aircraft go up, push down, the aircraft go down, roll left, roll right, and some kind of yaw. It doesn't really handle like a normal aircraft, which you'll see in a minute. It feels very floaty in the air. It does feel a lot like a sort of like a DJI sort of quad, to be honest. But anyway, but enough of me talking. Let's get it in the air because it's the ESC's beeping at me over there, letting me know that it's getting bored of waiting. So I will try and fly this whilst also holding my phone. We'll see how we get on with it. Okay, so to arm the aircraft, we need to pull the throttle stick down, push it to the right. As you can see, the motor starts spinning, and then if I push up on the throttle, it will then start to hover. Let go of the throttle stick so the stick centers again. The aircraft's now going to hold its height exactly where I left it. It's doing a pretty good job. It's a little bit windy today, not too bad. The wind is probably why it's leaning a little bit, because it is leaning in the direction of the wind there. It's doing a pretty good job of holding height though, which is good. And it's not really drifting at all either. So I'm pretty impressed with that. It's quite a loud aircraft. It's got quite a deep sort of drone to it. So if I now press up on the throttle, push it forwards, it's now going to climb. Let go of the stick and it's hovering again. Equally, if I pull down on the throttle, it will descend. Let go of the stick and it'll hover in place. Now I have to put the controller down for a minute to do this. So if I now, which way are we? If I push that to the right, it's now moving to the right. Let go of the stick and it's hovering again in place. Push it left, it goes to the left. Ugh. Lost its altitude a little bit there, didn't it? Let's push that back up again. Back over here. If I push it forwards, it moves forwards. And equally if I pull it backwards, as you'd expect, it goes backwards. Exactly as you would expect with like any other sort of quadcopter, to be honest. There's nothing sort of especially surprising going on there. So let's now put a bit of height on it. Now obviously in quadcopter mode, the FPV feed's a bit pointless because all I'm really seeing is the sky. But if I look at the map, and if I zoom in a bit, so you can sort of see that red line there sort of showing the flight path that it's done so far. Now, before I go ahead and do any flights in fixed wing mode, I will just show return to home. So press the B button. The first thing it will do is it will climb to the predetermined altitude, which I think is 50 meters. It might be 30, I'm not sure, we'll find out in a minute. It will climb to that altitude, it will then move into position and it will descend and land. So let's give that a go now. Press the button. It says on the screen it's gone into return to home mode. As you can see, it's now climbing. Let's move back over here a little bit out of the way. So it's climbing, where's the altitude to? 46, 47 meters, 48, 49. So yeah, about 50 meters. And it's now moving into position. And it's also descending as well. So yeah, it's coming back in for a landing. And obviously it's doing it all by itself. I'm not pressing anything. It looks pretty accurate to me. So it took off just in front of the black case there. So I hope it doesn't land on the case. It's looking pretty spot on. Now I'm not going to press anything. And there you go, disarmed all by itself. Nice. Okay, so that worked pretty good. So what we'll do now then is change the camera back to FPV mode. I'll take it back up again, and then this time I'll put it into fixed wing mode, and then we'll float around like that for a bit. It's going to be kind of hard for me to film anything with my phone though, because obviously I'm going to have to put my phone down to be able to take hold of control of the sticks here. But you'll be able to see the FPV feed on the screen and whatnot anyway, so I know what I'm talking about. Alright, so arm. Why is it not arming? What's the warning message saying? Not arming, switch to manual mode for... Oh, okay, so I've still got return to home mode activated, so I need to press the B button, disable that. Now I should be able to arm. There you go. Right, throttle up. In the manual it does suggest that you get at least 30 meters altitude before you try and do the transition into fixed wing mode. It's probably, I'm guessing, because it loses a bit of height as it does the transition. So where are we now? So that's 32. Let's take it up to 40. 40 meters. Okay, so if I now press the A button, we should see a transition. There we go. And we are now in fixed wing mode. Now it's quite strange flying it in fixed wing mode because, as I sort of said before, this feels like a sort of like a DJI quad, so it's very floaty. It doesn't feel as responsive as sort of a normal fixed wing aircraft would, like especially like something running on iNav or something. The controls they're quite sluggish. It's not a problem, it's just something you need to get used to. If I go full stick to the left, I mean, you see it doesn't do an especially sharp turn here. It's quite slow and docile, but I mean, that's fine. It did confuse me a little bit when I did the first flight because the camera's got a little bit of down tilt on it. So it's sort of, when I first flew it, I didn't think I was gaining height. I thought I was losing height. But actually, if you look at the altitude down there, it's holding height pretty good. If I want to increase height, I just pull back on the right stick. And as you can see, it's now gaining altitude. And if I let go of the stick, it should hold that height. Yep, it's working fine. Let's turn around to the left again. Now, obviously this aircraft it doesn't have sort of traditional control surfaces. There's no sort of flaps or anything. It's doing it all through the motors. And although it does sort of work to a degree, you know, you can fly it, it does mean that you can't do anything fun like you can't do rolls or sort of loop-loops or anything. It just doesn't work like that. From what I can tell, this aircraft is sort of geared more towards sort of like mapping applications. In fact, I did see online they do a pro version of this aircraft which is designed for mapping. So yeah, this is not in any means an acrobatic aircraft. This is very much designed for sort of flying quite stable, with the intention of sort of recording footage. And yeah, you know what I mean. So let's put a bit of distance between us, and then what I'm going to do now is I'll try return to home, because I haven't tried that in fixed wing mode yet. So where are we now? Distance 250 meters. So let's press the B button. Okay, so yeah, the aircraft stays in fixed wing mode when it's in return to home mode. So it doesn't immediately go straight into quadcopter mode, which is good, because it's going to be more efficient flying back in fixed wing mode. So I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it's flying straight towards me, and then it's overhead. It's gone straight into quadcopter mode. So the camera is now facing up. And what does it say on the DOSD here? Altitude 50 meters. So yeah, it's now starting to descend. It's starting to come back down again. Might just move that bag. I'm a bit nervous. It's going to try and land on the bag here. Here we come. That's looking pretty spot on again. Stop there for a second. 4 meters, 3 meters, 2 meters. There we go. And they're disarmed. Alright, cool. Right. It's good to see. The other day when I was testing return to home, it was quite windy. I tested it whilst it was in multi-rotor mode, and I found it really struggled to fly back overhead. Obviously that big surface area of the wings, when it's in quadcopter mode, it really struggled to fight against the wind, and it took a really long time to fly back into the overhead position to start its descent. So I'm glad to see that when you're in fixed wing mode, it will fly back in fixed wing mode, because it means it's got more of a chance of fighting the wind and making it back. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do now is I'm going to take it back up again, put it back into fixed wing mode, and then I'm going to try doing a bit more distance. Now they do say, what did they say? I think it's something like this thing will fly for 10 kilometers on the FPV link. Now I'm not going to fly that far, but I might just sort of fly towards those trees over there or something, maybe sort of about a kilometer, just to see whether I notice any sort of breakup on the FPV feed or anything like that, and just, you know, make sure everything works good. I might sort of try. No, we'll just do that. Let's just see what happens. Okay, so arming, and then throttle up. There she goes. And then, where is she? Hit the transition switch. Why did nothing happen? Hit the transition switch again. There we go. So now in fixed wing mode. quite sure which direction the wind's coming from. That doesn't really matter. I'm not flying that far for the wind to really be much of a problem. So let's fly it towards these trees here. It is very confusing with this down tilting camera. I don't think I like that very much. I much prefer the camera to be level with the horizon. Let's have a look at the map here. The map does seem to be a bit buggy about loading up, but that might be my internet signal more than anything. So we're at the trees. Where's distance? 600 meters, 700 meters. A bit further. I mean, it's not the best downlink in the world at the best of times. You can probably see here it's a little bit choppy. I did measure it. It's about a half a second, maybe a second delay between what the camera sees and what you see on the screen here. Obviously that's fine for sort of this sort of flying. You wouldn't want to try and do any kind of proximity or anything though. So that's 1.1 kilometers. Should we go for a mile? Yeah, go on, let's go for a mile. Let's gain a bit more altitude though. 90 meters, 1.3 kilometers. Still got line of sight of it, which is amazing. It's quite a big aircraft, and the lighting today, oh, bit of a break up there. Not too bad. 1.6, 1.5, sorry, I'm aiming for 1.6. There you go, 1.6. So yeah, there's a little bit of break up there. It's only for a second, but it was noticeable. Let's fly over towards the coast here. A little bit of buffeting by the wind, but nothing too bad. I mean, the camera quality is decent. I mean, I know they say it's HD, 720p, so it's like low-end HD, but it's good enough. Obviously, as I said earlier, this thing is designed to carry a GoPro, and if you did want to get some good high-quality footage, that would be the way to do it. Stick a GoPro on board. Twitching a bit. Let's loop it back round. It's definitely leaning towards the sea a bit there. The FPV feed is jittering a bit. It's not working great. Now, the only thing I do wish that this OSD had was like a home arrow. I don't think there is anything. Let's look at the map. There's no home arrow, although I guess by looking at the red line you can kind of work out where home is. But yeah, it would be nice if there was a little indicator on screen just so you knew which way home was. Yeah, I'm coming back towards our field now. Let's try and lose a bit of altitude, see if I can do a bit of a low pass. Yeah, it's definitely leaning to the right. The wind is, yeah, I guess the wind is kind of coming from the left, so that would explain why it does keep leaning a bit. But that's to be expected. Let's see if I can do a bit of a flyby here. I'm still quite high, aren't I? It's very slow at descending. It's very slow at descending and ascending. Looks cool though. Let me loop around, see if I can do that again a bit lower. Still at 70 meters altitude. I'm going to try and get lower than that. I'm going to get down to like 30 or something. Battery doing 51%. It's pretty good. This battery wasn't fully charged when I started today's flight. I think it was only about 60 or 70%. I'm not sure. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to fully charge it yet. Right, so let's take it over here, where we're now at 27 meters height. So let's now bring it around and try and film a bit of a flyby. I really don't like this downward facing camera. It's hard to see what's coming up ahead of you when you're flying low to the ground like this. I've got lost. I don't know which field I'm in. Where am I? Right, I think should be coming towards us. Here we are, over the tree. There we go. Nicely done. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'll put it into return to home mode. Interesting to see if it climbs actually. No, it doesn't, so it just turns around straight away. It's climbing as it's doing it, but yeah, it did do the turn immediately. It didn't climb in a straight line like you'd expect with something like iNav. So just keep an eye as she comes in. There she is up there. Don't know if you're going to see on the camera yet or not. Okay, so transitioned into quadcopter mode. Well, a bit prematurely there. Still, I don't know, good sort of like 20 metres away from home before it did the transition there, but it's not really a problem. And yeah, we're now descending. So she's coming down. She does lean quite a lot actually. I'm guessing that's again to do with her leaning into the wind or whatnot. It does seem to straighten up just as it sort of comes in for the landing though, which is good. Come on, you can do it. 4 meters altitude, 3 meters. See, it's just straightened up just at the end there. And then disarmed. Nicely done. Well, I gotta say, I'm quite impressed with this aircraft. It's very different to anything I'm used to flying. It definitely doesn't feel like a traditional fixed-wing aircraft or anything. Like I said, it does sort of feel like a DJI quadcopter. But I don't know, this ability to take off and land vertically, it's definitely cool. I like it. Now, I think what I need to do now is take this home and fully charge the battery and then take it out for a good long flight. HEQ UAV, if I remember rightly in the manual, it says that this thing should be able to fly for, I think it's 40 minutes on one pack in fixed wing mode or 20 minutes in multi-rotor mode. So I think what I'll do is I'll get that battery charged and I'll come back here another day and we'll try and do a full pack. We'll try and see how long this thing will fly for, see whether it really will do a 40-minute flight. And then after that, I think what I might have a look at doing is see if I can do a few modifications. I don't really like this whole thing about flying whilst using a phone app, so what I'm going to try and do is see if I can add an analog FPV system and also add like an OSD into it as well. And I might also try and add a second camera, so I can have a camera in quadcopter mode which faces forwards and then have a camera in fixed wing mode that faces forward as well, and have it on switch so I can choose which view I want to use. I think that would be cool. So yeah, keep an eye out for a second part to this video. If I manage to do the mods that I want to do, then there will be a part 2. If I don't manage to, then I don't know, I might do another video on this at some point anyway, just because it's kind of cool and fun to play with. Oh, one thing I do want to mention actually before I go. Some of you may have seen that Andrew Newton did a video on an aircraft that looks almost exactly the same as this, which was called a Foxtech H-wing. I got hold of HEQ UAV and I asked him about that. Basically, HEQ UAV, they make this aircraft, which is the Swan K1, but they've also partnered up with Foxtech. And basically the Foxtech H-wing is exactly the same aircraft. Foxtech basically just bought the license to the aircraft and they stuck the sticker on it. But it's exactly the same aircraft, using exactly the same app, there's no difference. So whether you buy the Swan K1 or the H-wing, they're both exactly the same aircraft and there's no difference between the two. So yeah, hope you enjoyed watching this video and found it interesting to watch. If you're interested in buying this aircraft, I'll leave a link down in the description to HEQ's website. And if you've got any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below and I'll try and get back to you. And until next time, see ya.